as a result of this being kind of an off week in terms of the summer release schedule, I'm covering a couple of indie films that I saw this week. Now, I say indie films. I actually don't know if these were independently produced, but they're like, art house projects. They're lower budget, kind of more character driven, thoughtful pieces. And one of the movies that I saw this week was called Dreamin Wild. Which, as my understanding, it's actually a biopic about a guy named Donnie Emerson, who, when he was 17, he and his brother Joe recorded an album called Dreamin Wild, and he never really saw success from it. And he's been working for like 30 years as a musician trying to make it. But then some record producer just discovered his album in an antique shop like 30 years later, and started passing it around like a vinyl appreciation scene, and it kind of became an underground hit. So it's a story about this guy who has found success from his initial work 30 years later. And it's not like he's, catapulted to stardom or anything like that. I highly doubt anybody who is watching this review or even has watched the movie has heard of Donnie Emerson. He got like a write-up in the New York Times like a decade ago, but he really has only gotten kind of like underground appreciation. But a lot of the movie, it deals with, a lot of the feelings, because like it deals with him having to come to terms with the fact that his father lost most of his farm just trying to finance his music career that basically failed for 30 years. It has to do with, and now that it's come back, his brother, who really only was doing drums on the album, whereas he wrote and played every other instrument. He's like the actual musician, like his brother is just a logger now. But, everyone wants them to get back together. Like the record producer's like, oh yeah, we want to have you guys go on a tour together and play all the old stuff from this album that you released in the 70s, not anything that you have done since then. And you can see like the character kind of struggling with resentment and all of that, which I kind of understand, because like there's music that I've like poured my heart and soul into that nobody has ever actually like paid attention to. I'm a musician, but the music that I am most known for is a stupid song that I wrote 30 minutes start to finish called the Demon Mama Bathroom Song. That's the song that I get the most recognition for. It's stupid, it's peppy, it's catchy, like I get why people like it, but again, I put no effort into it whatsoever, and people call it my magnum opus, and I'm like, no, this is not my magnum opus. I did not spend only 30 minutes for people to call something my magnum opus. So there's some understandable things that you have to deal with, but the movie's kind of a slow burn, and again, it's actually quite interesting because a lot of the movie, it's told explicitly just from Donnie's perspective. Even we don't see until like the end when he goes and plays a show at the Showbox in Seattle. We don't actually see any of his fans. We don't see him go on the internet to like investigate any of this stuff. It's all just like, oftentimes there will be scenes where like he'll be talking to other people, but the camera like almost completely ignores them to just focus on his reactions. So the movie's very much just like within his head. I thought it was interesting. One thing that seems a little odd, and I'm gonna need to pull this up here. So here we've got the movie poster, Dreamin Wild, and it says from the director of Love and Mercy, and you've got here Casey Affleck, who plays the main character, and Zooey Deschanel, who plays his wife in the movie. And if you would look at this poster, you would assume it's a love story, right? Zooey Deschanel's barely in this movie. She's only in the poster because, like, she's, a celebrity. People know her. She's been around forever. But this is a very misleading poster, and the only reason she's there is because of name recognition. But it's honestly kind of surprising that she's even in this movie, because her character's a nothing role. Like, you could have put anyone in there. It is just the generic, I'm the supportive wife character. I think she's in like 3 or 4 scenes in the movie. She's really not in this movie. And it seems kind of like a step down for the kind of role that Zooey Deschanel would take. Like, I'm kind of a couple minds on it. I'm wondering, did she take the role because she really believed in the project and just wanted to support it? Or did she take the role because her career's on the decline? I haven't really paid attention to what she's been doing lately, but I do know it is harder to get roles once you start hitting a certain age in Hollywood. And she's still, fairly young and attractive, but you know how Hollywood can be. but it really feels like she feels overqualified for this role, is what I am saying. So it was a little surprising that she's there, and particularly that they're using her for so much of the marketing when her role could have been played by anyone, because it's not an important role to the movie. In fact, like Walton Goggins plays Casey Affleck's brother in the movie, and he's the brother who was the drummer but didn't really have any musical talent. And a lot of the movie is like, he's not even that great of a drummer. He has trouble keeping tempo very well. Like, they have practice sessions where, like, at one point, he's like, he tells his brother, he's like, you know what, just give me the kick drum, I'll do the kicks. And the guy's like, what, you don't think I can even do the kick drum? I guess a lot of the movie is portrayed as like, Joe, he's trying to use this as a way to reconnect with his brother, whereas Donnie is seeing it as like, this is actually the first opportunity that he's ever had to have people appreciate his music, and he feels like his brother's holding him back. When they do a performance at the Showbox, everyone loves the performance, but again, because the movie is done from Donnie's perspective, like, we see his perspective of how the show is, where even though everyone's enjoying it and stuff, all of the music that we're hearing, it sounds like feedbacky and dissonant and kind of like distant, like he's disassociating during the performance, and he goes into the green room after that and talks about how it was a horrible performance and all that. It's an interesting movie in terms of just getting into the psychology of, you know, the demands of fame, and fame not coming on your terms or for the things that you were looking for recognition for. And it, you know, it kind of it has the end of the movie where he and his brother make up, and he tells his brother that he's actually a huge part of the heart and soul of the music. But I kind of feel like the movie kind of is a little meandering in parts in that regard. There's no, you know, big hard moments. It's kind of just more of a like a slow burn character study, and it feels like it was just like very specifically like a passion project for probably, I'm assuming, you know, a fan of Donnie and Joe Emerson's music. But I don't know how well I would recommend this movie. It's got some great performances. There's actually quite a bit of going back to Donnie and Joe as kids, and the kid actors that they've got for them are great. There's a lot of good performances in the movie. The script seems like it doesn't quite know how to get the conclusion that it's going for. Like, you know, the whole resolution at the end where they all make up, it feels like it comes out of left field, and it feels like the conclusions that he comes to weren't properly set up by the film. But overall, it's an interesting movie. It is interesting to kind of, you know, see that perspective. I thought it was very interesting to tell the movie entirely from his perspective without, you know, looking at any of his fans or him really like engaging with any of the buzz around his music at all, where it's just mostly him in his head about his career, his failed career as a musician suddenly turning around. But I thought it was an interesting movie.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm trying to get my channel monetized, so your view means a lot. Don't forget to toss me a like and subscribe and ring the bell. I stream every Monday and Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific, so catch me live and join in on the convo. You can find all my socials in the description below, and thank you to all my patrons with a special shout out to Piftle Cakes and Ryan D. Your support means the world. Catch you next time.